Hand clap to the master, brothers and sisters. We are finally back. We finally made it to the one and only reaction I'll be jumping on this YouTube platform. So welcome, brothers and sisters. Welcome to another Vibrations on this Mystelics Reacts channel. I should edit that in the kind of a way I just... But anyways, brothers and sisters, I do appreciate every single one of you guys for tuning into this Vibrations. And of course, this is where I give my viewpoint on a number of things. What are your thoughts, brothers and sisters? Leave your thoughts in the comment box below as well. Don't forget, of course, to click the thumbs up button. I would appreciate that. And of course, helping these algorithms to push these videos to YouTube, man. Just push it, man. Push it, brothers and sisters. Push these videos all over the place right there when you click the thumbs up button. And of course, if you've not done so, subscribe, of course, helping this channel to grow when you subscribe. And of course, for you to be notified when I drop I said that really fast, man. That's crazy. For you to be notified when I drop my videos right there and then. So definitely tune into that Vibrations, guys. Subscribe, click the bell, and click all to be notified. Big up to my hydro bottle, massive. All those who got the links. I suspect if you guys want this, let me know. I'll put this in the description below. By the way, this is, well, they actually sent me another one. I had a black one, brothers and sisters, but this one is much better right there. And I think this one is like $39 or something. I don't know. But if you guys want this is of course putting more hydrogen in the water. You know, H2O, hydrogen, water. All right. If you want me to link you to this, guys, it's you can get this stuff. It's good for your body. Very, very good for your body. And of course, it bypasses the, if you know about the brain blood barrier, that thing that in your head, brothers and sisters, it bypasses and nourishes and what have you. Anyways, that's not about this vibrations right there. We got to get into the vibrations for today. And of course, this is what we're going to be talking about. Well, not this. This is one of the things that I want to point out right there. Of course, this was sent to me and I decided to send it out to you guys. Of course, a number of you guys actually reach out to me. Say, Mystelics, we want to work online too. I say, well, start YouTube now. Start YouTube. Well, some people don't want to start YouTube. They want an actual job, brothers and sisters. YouTube has done me pretty well. So that's why I always recommend YouTube. I mean, look at where I am, brothers and sisters. This is because of YouTube. Anyways, brothers and sisters, so the Gospel Mission Assemblies of Dominica Youth Ministry is actually doing something. They are unlocking your first online job. There's a free seminar by this individual right there. Of course, October 19th, 2024 is when it's going to be taking place from 10 a.m. at the Goodwill Gospel Mission Church. Some of all, you never go church. Well, I said time for you to go church. Hopefully they teach all you the gospel as well. But of course, this is something I think a number of persons might be interested in, especially working online. In Dominica, there's not much jobs, brothers and sisters, so I think this is a good thing right there for you to get into. Go and find yourself a job online. And of course, this individual, Isaias, hopefully I pronounced him properly, sir, Mr. Burnett. I wonder if you really to jingle jam. Anyways, so this is what I'm gonna be talking about, brothers and sisters. Supplement your income with remote jobs. There's actually a number of remote jobs out there that you can actually do. One of the things I noticed a number of persons find it very difficult, especially when it comes down to making the US dollar. They don't get those kind of jobs because there's always this social security number that you need or something of that sort for you to get through. Sometimes you might be a student in the United States and you still kind of work even though you have a SSN. So that is also limited right there. But of course, I'm guessing these individuals would know how to get that vibrations in. I only know how to do it properly from the United States, guys. I don't know how to do it from the Caribbean. Of course, sometimes you can get to use a VPN in that regard for you to organize yourself. But you can only reach so far, you know, when it comes to this situation. But there's global entities and global companies that actually require these kind of things. You can do stuff like is it Fiverr? I think it's Fiverr. You can get to do that stuff, but it's not like you're gonna have a consistent, you know, thing unless you actually reach a company that can actually help you out. There's Fiverr. There's a number of companies you can actually reach out to that they outsource their work, outsource to all over the world. If you are competent in a particular field, they help to do that. So anyways, brothers and sisters, check out these individuals right there. Supplement your income with remote jobs. The step-by-step process of landing your first online job. I would definitely want to go there and see what they have to say in that regard. No doubt about it. Practical guidance for job seekers, tips for long-term success, networking opportunities right there. Of course, contributions will be collected in support of the youth ministry. And of course, this individual is going to be teaching individuals. I'm guessing he's probably a diaspora. I don't know. First time I've seen this individual before. Maybe I see him before, I'm not sure. So if you see me and you say, hey, Mr. Alex, sorry, sir, I can't remember. Your face not looking like I know somebody, like I know you. Anyways, if I know you, big up yourself one time for definitely trying to help the people them, especially in Dominica, when it comes down to the lack of opportunities caused by the very government. Scared, Roosevelt scared, brothers and sisters. This is not alleged. This is an absolute truth. Yes, man. Scared has sucked the economy dry So this is one of the ways you can actually go out there and try to get something going for yourself. It's never too late, brothers and sisters. Once there is life, there is hope. Although sometimes we saying, boy, Dominica in problem. Yeah, Dominica in serious problem, you know. Because even if government were to change now, not Dominica, last week. Because one of the things that definitely comes on Dominica, brothers and sisters, is the competition. Dominica has been lackadaisical in agriculture. Other Caribbean islands have been developing themselves and you know, boosting the agricultural pursuits, you know. And Dominica just not in it at all. So even if Dominica were to revamp right now and go into agriculture, there will be serious competition out there. I think Dominica can overcome these competitions because Dominica has an advantage when it comes down to the agricultural sector. But, you know, it's going to be difficult. You're going to need the right set of people with the right drive and the right motive and the right competence. Because presently, Dominica has no competent. They might be competent, you know, but they're in the wrong field. For example, you have the Minister of Health, who is an engineer, and he's the Minister of Health. That don't make no sense to me, brothers and sisters. Ask me. I actually read out something like that, you know. They remove you from the positions that you are competent in, and they put you in positions. The government does these things. They put you in other positions so they can control you. They put you in a field that you're not familiar with. Why? So they can use you and manipulate you and tell you what to do. However, if you were actually in your field, you would have the expertise. And therefore, sometimes they tend to do this, brothers and sisters. You look at, I do a lot of research, you know, for me to know this kind of things. All you think I just come and talk. I come for talking sake. Anyways, brothers and sisters, just keep that in mind right there. October 19, 2024. And of course, it'll take place in Goodwill Gospel Mission Church right there and then. Anyways, brothers and sisters, moving along, there was something rather interesting in the Trafalgar region. Now, we passed. Now, brothers and sisters, those of you who paid attention to my latest vlog, I'll post that in the first comment so you guys can check it out if you have not seen it. We actually passed through the hurricane, bro. Remember when I told you guys that we fled Bahamas? Yes, we fled Bahamas, but the hurricane met us. That is why the sea was so rugged. The hurricane met us, brothers and sisters. We left Bahamas in sunshine and bare darkness because of at a time where it would not have been dark outside, brothers and sisters. It would be like gray outside, kind of like how it is outside now, but you know, bare darkness pick us up and the waves are just dashing back and forth, man. A seesaw on the seesaw. On the seashore. No, well, you know, not on the seashore. But anyways, brothers and sisters, look at the point. But it seems like all you also had a kind of a thing in Dominica too, because look, all you had, thing falling down. Rocks were falling, according to my uncle from Penville or Vegas, wherever he's from. Be mindful of the falling rocks, brothers and sisters. And of course, this was in the Trafalgar area right there. So be mindful. Hopefully they cleared it up. And of course, some kind of big boulders rolled down. Sometimes these things happen afterwards. You know, sometimes when it's soft, so it sits, but when it gets hard, you know, when the soil gets hard, you know, the rocks are able to then freely fall. So I think the people, I was talking about competence, brothers and sisters, but I don't really see the competence. I don't see it, no. So hey, let's pray. We have to pray. Pray and fast, brothers and sisters. Anyways, brothers and sisters, we're moving along right there. Now, there's something rather interesting that I saw. And I had to post this up, actually posted it on my video on my YouTube channel so I can remove the copyright and then bring it back out again. But this is something that I think is very interesting right there. Brothers and sisters, what is your price? That question has been asked to me a number of times. I don't think I have a price, you know, brothers and sisters. I don't think I have a price. I was going to say something, but people might figure me out. So let me just leave that there. But I don't think I actually have a price, but they say everybody has a price. And what would be your price to sell out your own brothers and sisters? What would be your price to sell out your own self, brothers and sisters? What would be your price to sell out your own countrymen? What would be your price to sell out your own citizens of the country, your fellow citizens that you are in charge of? What would be your price, brothers and sisters? Take a listen to this.
I'm a vegetarian.
But I refuse to accept you don't have a price. $5,000 to eat the steak and this jacket. Voila.
I can't do that.
So apparently she doesn't have a price for $5,000. Some of all you would sell yourself out for a bag of cement, man. Yes. I've seen people sell out themselves or give their vote over for a bag of cement. And matter of fact, the lady in Granby that called for a bag of cement, I wonder if she get it. Because apparently the last election, she didn't get the bag of cement. She come back again for the same bag of cement. Some of all you sell out all your own self for nonsense, we boy. Humans, boy.
You can't.
So she's keeping her stance. For $5,000, you would not catch me. No, to eat that? Nah. You would not catch me.
No, I can't do it. I'm not trying to be rude.
You can't do it, or you choose not to do it. There's a difference.
I won't do it.
Listen, I understand that it's not going to be easy. Make it 10,000.
And you've seen it in your face now. It is one thing when you're promising somebody something and you're checking, oh, the person don't have it, I wouldn't sell out myself. I wouldn't sell out myself. But then you see the cash in front of you. If you were to only eat that meat and you're a vegetarian. Vegetarians don't eat meat, by the way, for those of you who don't know. But there's the cash right there. We should sell out.
Could you do that?
You should eat it.
And sometimes there's the encouragers are wrong. You should take it, man. Sometimes when you see the price, you check it. No, boy, I don't want to do it. But that's a good amount of money, you know. And then the devil in your ear telling you, well, take it, man. Just take it. Look, the devil. That's a lot of money. Take it. Just close your eyes and eat it.
Close your eyes. It's a lot of money.
And she ate it, bro.
Lifetime.
Now, brothers and sisters, I want you to pay attention to what this man is saying right there. Pay very close attention. She didn't do it for $5,000, but she did it for $10,000. Now, I want you guys to think of something. Somebody's promising you something. And this is why I side with Trump. I'll tell you guys why in a moment. Because when it comes down to, people selling out each other, what is the price? Or do they have a higher price or a lower price than somebody else? Take a listen to this.
Lifetime discipline and commitment to cause wiped away by a mere $10,000.
You hear him? To her, $10,000 is a lot of money. And if I were to only just eat that piece of meat for my entire principle, kind of reminds me of Mr. Speaker of the House. Who knows? Kind of reminds me of Scary. Who knows? Remember? Oh, give the young man a chance, brothers and sisters. What will you sell yourself out for? Now, it's interesting to find out that this man is the one giving her the $10,000 that she doesn't have. Look at that there. She doesn't have it and she thinks it's a lot of money. But to him, it's a mere $10,000. For people who have $1 million, giving them a $10,000 is not much, no, brothers and sisters. But if you give them 100,000, a 200,000, a 500,000, add to their stuff. But if you give a man that have $10 in his bank account, you give him $200, checking, boy, I have more money, but let me take that. What is the price? Brothers and sisters, sometimes we tend to look at the money value. We don't look at the principle of the person. That is a very interesting thing right there. Now, the reason why I can say this, brothers and sisters, is because I have been offered a number of things in this place. Yes. And nobody. I believe you have to work hard for your body, yeah? You work hard for your body. And don't pull hard for your money. That's what the song say, no? Or don't pull hard. Some kind of thing the song say. Don't do them things, brothers. All right. Yes, brothers and sisters. What is the price? Now, when you see different countries, they're selling out their own people. Remember what was taking place in Africa? They were selling out their own people that look like them. And so you have to be mindful of Kamala. Just because she look like you doesn't mean she's... Just because she look like you doesn't mean she's for you. Or is like you in the first place. She's Irish and another thing. Indian and what have you. But anyways, brothers and sisters, it's important to be mindful of that. Because how can you just decide to sell out your own people? Remember, as I'm thinking of Scary them back in the day didn't have nothing. People had to buy shoes and shirt. And give him an old piece, a old can, this kind of things back in the day. Today, the man is known as one of the richest, if not the richest prime ministers in the entire Caribbean. You can just Google it, you see his name pop up. Richest prime minister in the Caribbean. He didn't have a shirt on his back. He was teaching one of his students. I met not one, I met a few of his students back in the day. I met them in Portsmouth. They came to Dominica for some kind of reunion. They meet me. Hey, Mystelics, watch your videos, blah, blah, blah. And tell me about Skerrit and whatnot. He was their literature teacher. I didn't even know his literature. I thought it was English. He was a teacher. He was a literature teacher. And they say he couldn't even speak properly. Literature teacher to where he is today, brothers and sisters. What is the price that you will sell out your own people for? One of the reasons why I sided with Trump, because they cannot buy Trump. In fact, Trump had a net worth, I think it's 3.8 billion. 3.8 billion, or the amount of money he was making was 3.8 billion, something of that sort. As president, he got less. It went down by $0.8 billion, brothers and sisters. Whereas when you look at all the other prime ministers around and their salaries before they became president, they had way less money. And after presidency, they were millionaires and multi-millionaires, brothers and sisters. At what price would you have to sell out your people? That's one of the reasons why I side with Trump, brothers and sisters. A number of you guys say, oh, Mr. Lazarus, he racist. You have no proof of that at all. I dare any one of all you to tell me how he's racist. The very man that the man that stood with Jesse Jackson, Jesse Jackson, let me give you a, hey, boy. Jesse Jackson wanted to push the black agenda. He wanted to push the black agenda. Jesse Jackson was part of the Democratic Party back in the day. He wanted to push the black agenda because he believed in reparations, brothers and sisters. And of course, based on how black people were elevating back then, you know who sided with him? Trump. His very own people abandoned him and he lost. And then we're talking about who is racist and this kind of things there. When you look at all the presidents, brothers and sisters, the only person that did not have ancestral slave owners was Trump. Barack Obama had it on his white side of his family. So it's very interesting when you look at the price that people have to pay. What price would you have to give up, brothers and sisters? What price did Skerrit give up to sell out his own people? What price? Be that the case? Did he sell out his people, or just me that thinking that way? Yeah, maybe. Maybe you guys will let me know if you think he sold out his people or not. Because we're looking at Dominica and the promises that Dominica have, and we're not seeing anything elevating at all. Nothing elevating in Dominica. Dominica full of richness, soil, brothers and sisters. We see somebody correct me and says 9 active volcanoes. Thank you for telling me that. I always thought it was 9 or 11 for some reason. I think there was a discrepancy back in the days talking about 11, and I myself never really went into the research. That's why I say it's 9 or 11. But thank you for telling me 9 active volcanoes Dominica sits on, causing the soil to be fertile. Brothers and sisters, you know, who St. Vincent had the volcano the other day? St. Vincent and the volcano the other day, brothers and sisters, and then people utilizing their soil. Nobody's supposed to let that sit for at least a good 10 years. Then people now utilizing their soils to push agriculture. And we pull up there with our soil, boy. It's interesting, you know, when you look at life, bro. When you look at life and you see the discrepancies among different people, or you see the similarities itself among government leaders, what they are willing to do to sell out their own people. I look at the Biden family, brothers and sisters, and they are taking money from China, over $20 million. This is on the record, you know. And they're saying he's too old. That is the excuse. He's too old to face trial because he wouldn't remember. Boy. He did the crime, but because you are too old, yet still they wanted to make him run for another session. And all you don't think something funny is happening. I want all you to listen to what I said, you know. And I dare all you to challenge me on it. I dare you. Any one of all you, I dare all you. I am very versed in knowing what I'm talking about, you know. Very versed. I actually post something on my WhatsApp. Those of all you on my WhatsApp. I got a message from somebody. And I posted who I get it from. I said, I know what I'm talking about, you know. Yes, I know what I'm talking about. Be mindful, brothers and sisters. Be mindful of that. What is the price that you have to pay right there? How much will you have to take? When you have Kamala, the other people coming up, it's been stated, it's been alleged. Well, we know the truth, but we'll say alleged. How she got into her position is through Willie Brown. That's a fact. I have videos of her and all those kind of things there with the man. They're asking her, are you his daughter? She's saying, she right there. Giving her a boost. I saw the documentaries. I read the documentaries and all those kind of things. How she got linked to and how she elevated. And people still, boy. I think it's the injection, you know. I strongly believe, I cannot really say it is that, but I strongly believe it is injection. And sometimes you might say, oh, but Mystelics, but I'm not siding on that part. And then I realized 30% of the injections that were given were placebos. So maybe you got the placebo. That's why you can't think. Anyways, brothers and sisters, let's move on right there. Now, guys, this is a lady that is from Trinidad. She's actually from Trinidad, brothers and sisters. And she's speaking just like a Dominican. Take a listen. Moun apweza. What is that now? People apweza. Moun apweza. Hair, people. Anyways. Something about pretty people, I guess. I don't know. Belle boug.
Si ve mwen bel. Oui. Yon pen.
Kisa. Something about Kisa. Kisa na. What you saying there? Something like
Non. Moi, pas ça plein tête, puis on paye.
Sa ou ka ou seve?
Et puis on bosse.
Everything that lady here saying, I remember hearing it somewhere, you know, in Dominica. Whether it's from my grandmother or something of that sort. Now, it's interesting that people are frightened that this lady is speaking Creole, and not just Creole. She's speaking exactly like how Dominicans speak Creole. Exactly. That's why people were confused. This was going all over the place checking, no, she's not from Trinidad. She's from Trinidad.
Boss.
Ni bosse assez pour payer. D'ailleurs, tu as filmé moi, ni pour payer tête pour maman. Pas garder pour payer, non? Ça ni pour prendre bosse à grep, et puis dans tes cheveux, et puis couvert. Tête pour pas qu'à ouéter sans couvert.
Ok.
Tête pour on
Wait ça, I know wait là. Anyways.
ça. Non. Ou là, on peut manger.
Manger? It's either match, you know. Manger is not eating, I don't know. Music. Anyways, brothers and sisters, it's interesting that people are confused about that. And I remember some time back, I was doing some research in that regard. And I was speaking to a particular individual about it. And the reason why I started doing a little research, because I find out, I check about why are Trinidadians using the word juve? Now, Trinidadians, juve is a Creole word. Juve. How can you be using a term and you say juve come from Trinidad? That's what they see. Right? But if juve come from Trinidad, then why are you using the term juve, a Creole term? So I started going, that is what that got me, you know. I started going deeper and deeper. And then, so different people have different viewpoints on it. But one that particular stood out to me, and you can hear the Dominican accent in her Creole. They said that some of the individuals that went down to Trinidad, there was trade going on, some sailing and going back and forth and this kind of things there across the Caribbean, and Dominica was one of the richest places, so people used to come from there and, you know, spread out and you make you all kind of, boy, the people, boy, something else when the people don't know their history. Anyways, so people from Dominica actually migrated down to Trinidad. That is how I heard the link. And I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. People from Dominica migrated. That was a long time ago. Long time ago, brothers and sisters. Even before Dominica got its independence. During that time, after slavery and this kind of things there, people mingling, trying to survive and figure out things, you know, travel to different islands and see how things are. And that's how individuals went down to Trinidad. Now, it's interesting that Trinidad was actually a Creole-speaking nation. Interesting, ain't it? The same way that you heard the Dominican speaking, you heard from Trinidad. Now, I actually met Tossi, and Tossi gave me a bit of a different story, saying that is yes, some of the people, but it's kind of like from slavery, and people came from a number of places, more like is it Martinique or some kind of thing like that. He was telling me, I can't remember, but the reason why I didn't remember it fully because what he was saying, yes, it kind of makes sense, but the other person from the other information made more sense to me. That's why I stuck with that one right there. And, you know, so that's why these people tend to talk. But it's interesting how Dominica is going because we grew up, a number of us grew up with our parents, our grandparents, let me put it that way, our grandparents speaking Creole, bare Creole. They learn English, but they speak it. Every time they relax, it's Creole is speaking, brothers and sisters. And their children, our parents, grew up knowing some Creole. Not everything. I have Grenadian family. They also, some of them can actually speak Creole. I don't know if it's because of Dominica or something like that. But anyways, their children, our grandparents' children, could speak Creole, but not to the proficiency of the elders. Okay? And we now were told not to speak that language. In other words, they were looking down on that language. Even in schools, they were teaching children Spanish and French, and they don't teach them Creole. I found that to be insane. You mean to tell me that's your people, that's who you are, and you don't want the children to learn the Creole? In fact, when our parents wanted to not, and we used to that's how we used to figure things out. That's why I say I have auditory memory. Anyways, when they used to speak certain things, we used to understand what they were saying. When they didn't want us to understand what they were saying, they would speak in Creole. And then from speaking, we just sit down and listen. If mere fact you don't want us to learn it, we would just sit down and listen to what you say and try to figure it out. Sometimes they'll throw a little English in there. So we say, hey, maybe that's what that person means and this kind of things there. So we try and put bits and pieces together to try to learn what they were saying. And that's how I cannot really speak Creole, but I can understand most of the stuff that, not most, but a lot of the things I can piece together, certain things that they say, and I think that is very bad. Because look, Trinidad, people are shocked that Trinidad people can speak Creole. Not everybody, you know. But is the same thing happening to Dominica? As less and less people are learning the Creole language, sooner or later, only a small portion of Trinidad actually speaks Creole right now. Sooner, that will just disappear, and it's with the elderly folks. It's with the elderly folks. The younger generation in Trinidad can't speak Creole now. If you find one or two, you find plenty. In Dominica, you find more people in the countryside speaking Creole, a few people here in Roseau, and a few people in Portsmouth here and there. But as it's dwindling down, brothers and sisters, in about 50 years' time, Dominica might just come like Trinidad. This is why it's important, so we can remember our history. History is important. Anyways, let me talk about history right there. Let's bring in Gordon Henderson. Gordon Henderson was talking about some very interesting stuff, especially when it comes on to the World Creole Music Festival and how it came about. Let's take a listen, people.
I don't want to stand as someone coming out with an absolute. But what I would like to say is, as far as the World Creole Music Festival is concerned, we don't have to be hypocritical about it. The Creole music that we are speaking about, the Creole music that we are supposed to preserve is what we may call, from a language standpoint, the Franco-Creole. So that's because we really have to break it down so that everyone can understand. From a language standpoint, the Franco-Creole. From a rhythmic standpoint.
And guys, keep in mind, he's gonna talk. He's gonna link the Creole of Dominica back to Trinidad. Eh? Just take a listen.
One doesn't have to be a musicologist to know the difference between something that is very close to calypso as compared to rock and roll, as compared to even salsa. And I use calypso because calypso began in the Creole language.
Where did Creole come? Where did calypso originate from, brothers and sisters? If it began in the Creole language, where did it originate from? We've known that calypso originated from where? Trinidad. Interesting. But it began in Creole language. See, we don't know a lot of these things. We have no clue. Oh, brothers and sisters, if you do not know your history, you are doomed to repeat it. Especially when people can go against and make you forget a lot of things. Oh, brothers and sisters, one of the things that I strong in is going back in history, and I'm very, very good at it too.
And anyone who wants to doubt me can do their research, but they can find out that it began in the Creole language. Because if Calypso began in the Caribbean.
But is Calypso a Creole word? Calypso. Is it a Creole word? Like Juve. Juve is definitely a Creole word.
What is the first language that was spoken in the Caribbean? It had to be Creole. Because we don't speak Lingala, we don't speak Swahili, we don't speak any of the languages from Africa. We had to create our own. And Trinidad, that made Calypso very, very important as a genre. They spoke Spanish. The capital is part of Spain.
Spain. So they were also fused with Spanish as well. Because Dominica, just like, this is not far-fetched, because Dominica was fused with French and English. Also Spanish. I think the term Rosso is Spanish, not French. Does Rosso sound like a French word to you?
And they imported Creole speakers. We don't have to go deep into the history. And they started this Calypso business down there. I say they started, but they continued in the Creole language. So when we got together and decided that we should create the World Creole Music Festival.
Sorry about that, guys. I just got a thing there, but let's continue.
The Creole music we're talking about is one, as I said, I'll repeat, of Franco-Creole. And it's not any extended definition to say, well, Jamaican patois is a Creole, or even...
I wonder why they use that term Jamaican patois. When exactly did the term Jamaican patois start? One of the things I understand the closeness that Dominica has with Trinidad. That's why I say about the World Creole Music Festival. Yeah, Trinidad, they can bring their soca, they can, Calypso, all these kind of things that can come. Why does not Dominica have Calypso in? Why? We're talking about Creole and Dominica. Wouldn't the World Creole Music Festival bring in all the genres of music of Dominica? Huh? Why we don't have Calypso in Dominica? But anyways, brothers and sisters, you can relate Calypso, Trinidad, and Dominica pretty close. We are pretty close, man. Of course, Trinidad took on a bit of an Indian kind of thing, philosophy as well into the music, chutney music and this kind of things that were making a different genre and this kind of things there. But there's also the influence of Dominica in there as well.
Kokoi is a Creole. Oh yes. From a semantic standpoint, we can make certain shifts. But the music we're talking about is the Calypso Franco-Creole style. That's how it began.
Important you mentioned that, because in some of the research that I did, I understood that Dominica and Martinique were also part of the very early speaking Calypso singers, and the music during those days would have been in Creole.
Inevitably, as I said,
Martinique though, because to me Martinique speaks a different Creole than Dominica. Or they speak a different Creole than Dominica. Trinidad Creole is definitely full-blown Dominica Creole, full-blown. That's why I mentioned when Tosi was talking about Martinique and the other Caribbean French-speaking islands and integration, those kind of things there. I was like, yeah, that makes sense, but they speak fully blown Dominican Creole. And it didn't come up, it went down from Dominica to Trinidad. This is why it's important to know history, guys.
Since the enslaved Africans could not converse, they were sold to different plantations where they could not speak their native tongues. they had to create a language. And that is Creole. And the music of St. Lucia, many people might not know it, but Grenada is a former French colony.
Yep.
Martinique, Guadeloupe, departments and regions of France.
But Martinique and Guadeloupe has a different type of Creole or French to Dominica. Trinidad and Dominica have the same thing. Interesting, ain't it?
But the former French colonies, Dominica. So whatever we did in music, that was imported by Trinidad.
Some people, I remember one of my friends, them, we always having this banter saying Trinidad soca come from Boo Your Music and this kind of things there. Well, when I look at the timeline, that cannot necessarily be true at all. However, I do think that Dominica has a lot of influence on the soca music. It has a lot of influence in it. Especially sometimes you can make comparison and say, hey, that song like this, you know, can make a little comparison. I'm not saying that it doesn't have comparison. It definitely has some sort of comparison sometimes, but you can. I listen to the sequence in music. I'm very good at listening to the sequence in music, and I can tell the difference, the massive difference in them. Even though sometimes people want to. I remember I was having this whole fiasco in St. Kitts, where they were playing their music type, their genre, and I tell them that is bouillon music. The same sequence they have. Sometimes you just a little faster beat, or a point faster, or a point slower. Dominica has the hype in it. Dominican is a bit faster and more, you know. But you can hear the same. If you slow it down, it's the same beat format you can hear. It's the same beat format you're going to hear. You slow it down, it's the same beat format. You speed it up, it's the same beat format you're going to hear. And I listen to it. Yes, there's variations, true. But I can hear the bouillon in some of the music.
And the only reason that Calypso moved to English in Trinidad is because when Trinidad became a British colony, after the Spanish, they wanted to stamp out Creole from their British colony. And
the same thing they were trying to do Dominica. So Trinidad and Dominica kind of shares that kind of history.
Imported Barbadian teachers to teach the Trinidadian population to speak English.
Boy, Barbados, all you have a kind of a what? They bring Barbados people to teach people to speak English? Barbados? Barbados have the worst accent. Tell me a lie. Barbados have the worst accent in the Caribbean. Even Jamaica, no? Maybe we hear Jamaica too much. That's why you can understand some of the things they're saying. Especially if Jamaicans have to they have to talk fast. You know, here on the. But Bajan, they speak in slow, and you still don't know what on earth there's people telling you. I remember I go Barbados a few times, brothers and sisters, and mingling with the citizens there. And sometimes there's people talking to me, I just shaking my ears. And they ask me questions and say, I don't know what on earth these people telling me. You like when the Americans come down Dominica and they're not familiar with the accent and thing, and they just nodding there. I suspect that's why I get that, you know. Because when I don't understand what you're saying, sometimes I'll ask you, but if I ask you 2-3 times and I still don't understand what you're saying, all I do is yes. I saying yes. And if it sounds like I should be saying no, then I say no. Anyways, let's continue.
And gradually, and very lately, you know, in the 1930s, they started speaking and singing in English.
It's interesting, brothers and sisters. I'll post this link of this full thing. Or do you guys want me to do a reaction on this on BrBpTV? There's 2 videos I actually have to do on BrBpTV for the live interaction, reaction, vibrations. Of course, Sunday, hopefully I get to do one of them right there. But it's very interesting when you listen to these kind of things, brothers and sisters, and the amount of information that we are lacking. The amount of information that we are lacking, and it seems like people don't really care to know, you know, to have a little semblance of understanding of where you came from. And brothers and sisters, this is just Caribbean history, you know. What about the history before Caribbean history? where your family came from, and all those kind of things there. What were they doing? Were your family part of those who were selling out their own brother, man? Scary, I don't call your name. But were they? Is that innate in your bloodline, brothers and sisters? Because that's how humans work, you know, brothers and sisters. The kind of things you do, you notice your children picking it up without sometimes a child might be born, right? A child might be born and never meet their parents, and they have the same kind of ways of their parents. You think it's by mistake? That thing is encoded in your genetics, you know, brothers and sisters. We are like supercomputers, you know. You can reprogram and program those things. Anyways, I'm going too far with this one right there, so let me leave that alone. Let me leave that for those people. But you have to be knowledgeable, brothers and sisters. I think knowledge is power when it comes down to the situation. What are your thoughts, man? Leave your thoughts in the comment box below. These are just my thoughts, guys. And of course, with that steady right there, give this video a thumbs up. I would appreciate that. Subscribe and turn on that post notification so you can get the latest vibrations when they tend to come through. It's about Mystelics on singing against. Be real. Salute the king always. Be positive.